Hello friends, in this video let's quickly talk about how to handle the exceptions in Python. In the previous video I talked about a basic error handling, how to write a basic error handling cases and what is a compile time errors and what is a runtime errors. Then in this video let's talk about bit in detail how many type of exceptions we have in the Python and how to handle it in various ways and how to handle in if you see a general exceptions. Now see, as I talked about in the previous video, we have a compile time errors as well as runtime errors. So compile time errors we know that we have to fix during the development time itself. When you talk about runtime errors, so you have to handle those runtime errors through the exceptions only, because we cannot display the system errors or Python generated errors to the end user, because he may not be able to understand what is going wrong. So that time we need to do the error handling or exception handling in the Python. So now as you know that, so we will be doing that with the help of the try and exception classes. See, let's try and except classes. So hope you know that. So whatever the statement you have, let us say I'm writing these many statements here. These are the except block statements. So those will be executed whenever your try block sees an error. So if there is no error, then except block does not execute. But there are some scenarios where I need to do some actions. Okay, so that time I am going to take it as a finally clause. See, if you see here, this finally clause works irrespective of error or no error. So let us say you have like a couple of statements here. So these two statements are running good, then exception block won't work, means won't execute, I mean. So then finally block is going to execute irrespective of that, let us say. Now let's say there is an error message here. So that time exception block is going to execute, then finally block is going to execute. Whenever you see an error message in the try block, so that time you will be executing except block and finally block. Now let me write a statement here. Whenever error occurred in the try block, then all means except and finally block is going to execute. If there is no error, is one of the important interview question as well. If there is no error, then except block does not execute. Okay, so this is the execution flow of a try, except and finally block. So this is very famous. Error handling or exception handling is very famous in every technology, in any programming language. So in .NET we call it as a try and catch finally blocks, but in Python we call it as a try, except and finally block. So let's quickly go to the example in Python. So let's quickly start a new page. Here I will be taking a very famous example. Okay, so let me try that. So a equal to int of, let me get that input from user only, so that I can see the runtime errors how it will be. Please enter first number. Okay, same way let me take another number b. Let me make it as here as second number. Okay, so now once it is done, like a result equal to, or like let us say directly print it. I don't want to do it. Print general one. I want to put some empty line in the middle. That is the reason I made it as a by b and print program completed success. Okay, so now let's run this. Okay, let's put a number as 2 and 2, then result is 1 and program completed successfully. Okay, so now it's a positive scenario. So now let's take one more positive scenario quickly. Let's talk about 4 and 2. Now the result is 2.0 and program complete successfully. Now let's go to the negative scenario. When I say the exception handling, it is a kind of negative scenario. If everything is going good, then there is no case of exception handling or error handling in any technology. But as a developer, you need to think little beyond, and you need to handle the errors. How best we can do, we need to see. Now let's think about a negative case. Let's run this. Let's enter 5, second number as 0. Now enter. If you see this, you got an error message. But you see this is a very big error message, you got it. And you can see in which line is giving the error message. You can see this fourth line, it was highlighted like a print a by b is having the error message, and there is no output at all, and there is no output. So if you really see this total, I have 5 statements. So this is having the error message, error, but this is a very perfect statement. But even though there is no error in this message, in this line, but still it was not executed. Why? Because whenever an error sees, execution is going to terminate, execution is going to stop at that particular place itself. It won't go to the next line. If you talk about a plain programming, whenever you see an error in any one of the line, execution is going to stop at that particular line itself. It terminates the execution. So that should not happen. I want to execute the next line. If this is something going wrong in this line, I want to skip that. I want to go to the next line. So this is the place where exception handling come into the picture. Now let me quickly do that. As I told you, I will be using try and except blocks. Let's quickly talk about try. Let's put here print and go for except exception, and you can put it as print error. Let's put it this way. Okay, now once you are done, let's execute it. Now let's give the numbers. Now 4, positive scenario 2, enter it. Now if you really see this, how many print statements are there here? This is empty line, I got it. Now this is a one print statement, this is a second print statement, this is a third print statement. So when I talk about a positive scenario, so I got this result 2.0 and print error, I did not get it because there is no error. If there is no error, my compiler or my runtime, it does not come to the except class. If there is no error, it won't go to the except class. Now the last statement is independent of the error. It executes it. That's my expectation. That's the reason it executed that. Now totally I got 2 lines. Now let's talk about a negative scenario. I don't need to worry now because I handled the negative scenario also. Now let's run this. Enter 4, second number is 0. Enter it. Now you can see this. So this is not printed here. Why? Because is an error message, error occurred there. So whenever my runtime sees an error in this particular line, it simply skips the execution and it comes to the except class. And it printed error, and the last line it automatically printed. But I want to see what is the error. I'm okay, like this is general message error. I want to see what is the exact error message. As a developer, first I'll think about a developer perspective, then later I'll think about a end user perspective. How to see the error message? Yes, you have a option space except exception space as ex. Ex is nothing but an object name. I can give my name, your name here, whatever it is. Ex as exception. Let's print that exception, comma ex. Okay, now let's run this. Positive scenario 4, 2, 3, 4, 3. That's one. Now let's run again. Negative scenario 4, 0. Enter it. Now do you see this? Hope you know that like that line doesn't execute anyway. This line is going to execute, and you can see that error is a word which I expected to print here. After that I have message division by 0. Now if I show this message to the end user, he'll understand, oh okay, I gave a second number as 0, there is a reason why it was not executed. Now last line anyway it was printed. Okay, now so let's run one more negative scenario. So hope you know that division works only for integers or numbers, not only integers, numbers. What happens if I give a strings? Let us say yes. Whenever I give a yes, I got a message directly. What do you see? Invalid literal. Okay, now let me run again and see. First number is see, I am trying to convert here itself. That is the reason why it got failed. Okay, so let me change program bit. Let's change bit a program. Okay, now let's run this. Let me remove this parenthesis. What happened? Okay, let's run this. Okay, let's cancel it. Let's save this. Okay, let's run this. Yes, let's quickly talk about, let's give the strings here. When I try to give yes, because whenever the user gives an input as a yes, it is failing, because there is a cast conversion is happening in the first line itself. If you really see this, value error is occurring. Even it is not waiting till the print statement, it is giving the error message at the top itself. So that time I need to put the try block at the top. So I need to follow the indent all. Let's go here and let's follow the indent. So hope you know that why indent, what is the role of the indent in Python. So now let's take this. Yeah, so it's done now. Okay, so now let's run this. So what happens is, whenever any error occurs, so I'm displaying here, I don't show this much of error. Okay, let's run this now. So now let's type first number is correct 2, second number as I'm entering as a positive scenario, let's take is 2, output is 1.0 and all. Next let's run this. The first number is positive scenario, second number is string. I gave yes here, let's enter it. You see this error, invalid literal for int with a base of 10. Then how to do that? See, I user cannot understand, but I'm a developer, I can understand this error message easily, but user cannot understand. I want to display user friendly message. Okay, so not only that, there are some other scenarios also. So how to handle that? See, exception having a sub exception classes. So exception is a main class, it's a general class. So whenever you do not know what kind of error message might come in this program, you can directly use exception class. But if you know, there are some cases where divide by 0 exception comes. So that time you can, if you know that case might come here, you can handle that. One try block can have multiple except classes, multiple except blocks. Let's see now. Except. See, I'll show you. So these are the list of errors Python has identified. There might be unidentified errors also might come. So that time, so those unidentified errors you can catch by using general exception class. You have a specialized classes you have here. You can make use of that. Now let's take zero division error. Let's copy and paste here. Okay. So whenever you see a 0, whenever my compiler or whenever my runtime sees a 0 division error, it prints this message. Now let's print. Let us say error. I'll put like a error 1, comma e. Now if you really see here, one try block contains 2 except blocks. Okay, so now let's run this. So let's take the 2 scenarios now. So one is a positive, second one is negative. Let's run it. So let's enter 2, second number also 2, Now you got the output as 1.0 program completed successfully. Okay, irrespective of this, irrespective of the error or success, my last line is getting executed. Now let's take a negative scenario. So I'm entering two negative scenarios. So first negative scenario is I'm entering as yes here. When I type enter, it is not going to the next line, second line. It's coming directly to this error. Error invalid literal for int. And the last line anyway I'm getting it. Now let's take the one more negative scenario. Let's give it as a 4 first number, second number as 0. Now let's enter it. You can see this. This block has been executed. Now this block does not execute at all. In the previous scenario, this block has been executed and this does not touch. Now if you see this, because I know what kind of error my program might encounter, that's the reason I predicted early and I kept my class here, specific class, so that I can display the specific error message here. Error 1, division by 0. So if I am not able to predict that error message, then that time I can generally use exception classes. Exception class gives you the message based on the runtime. So I have used only 0 division error. So like that you have multiple errors. So value error, memory error, type error, or some memory errors also there. If you have any memory related stuff, if your variable is not capable of handling that much of value, so that time you can take it as a memory error. So and so on. Now if you see this, we talked about try block, except block, and finally block. So what finally block will help us is, what finally block will do is, if you see here, even though you do not have a finally block, you are able to see this statement executed irrespective of the error or success. So that time, if you have such scenarios, so that time you can put like this, finally. Now, so whatever the statement you have in finally, it doesn't wait for success or failure, it executes automatically. Now let's run this. So 4, yes, program complete successfully, right? Let me put it as finally so that you understand easily. Finally. Okay, now let's run this. Positive scenario, 4, yes, finally block executed. Now let's take the first negative scenario. First negative scenario is 0 division error. Let's take it as 4 and 0, enter it. Now this except block has been executed and finally block has been executed even. Now let's run the second negative scenario. 4 is okay. Second number I am giving as a string t, enter it. Do you see this? Error invalid literal, and at the end you have finally. So then what is the exact scenario of finally? See, there are some scenarios where you have, like, let us say you open a SQL connection. Okay, so unfortunately you open a SQL connection here in the first line. Unfortunately there is an error in the second line, because you do not know whenever error comes, right? So that time you cannot close that SQL connection till you reach end. Okay, so that time, so you can put the SQL connection close. You can close the connection in the finally block, because finally block execute irrespective of error or success. You know that. So it means even your requirement also to close at the end only. That's the reason why. Let's put it at the end. Okay, so now if you close in the except block, you do not know your except block is going to execute or not. That is the reason why you cannot put that close SQL connection close in the except block. You cannot keep in the try block. Better to keep in the finally block. So not only that, whenever you are doing some file operations, so that time also you cannot keep that file operations closure in either try block or except block. So you can directly put it in the finally block, because that is going to execute irrespective of your success or failure. So that's all about it. So as I told you, you have these many exceptions. So if you do not know, if you are not able to predict what kind of error message you get it, so that time you can directly use a general exception class. So that's all about exception handling in Python. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more technical videos. Thank you.